Lava water. Tameti had to make a decision. Selection time vexed her. The process was tedious, and tedium would forever be avoided. It reminded her of life, and she did all she could to not think about life. These days, cannabis and sex were the only matters she could muster more than a cursory shit about. And chocolate. 1. She lit the novelty glass pipe, 3. Took a full drag, 4. Exhaling, 5. She tried not to count 6. The seconds, but couldn't help it. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. And there, taking another deep drag, she relaxed, returning to the binder. Hundreds of fresh-faced young men looked back at her. Terrence had a special skill in finding prospects, but after 5 binders, Tameti wore boredom like a warm but itchy blanket over her shoulders. Same perfect smile, same shaven face or expertly fashioned facial hair. They were all gorgeous and boring. Through her frustration, she pressed on. No longer could she stand to live with Hanahir's current version. The body was all Tameti could want, but what stood above the broad shoulders, she refused to live with any longer. This switch would be sooner than usual, but Hanahir didn't care. He would switch every week if Tameti asked. At least, she wouldn't be forced to spend the time away as she had when Hanahir chose a woman. The bitter taste of that experience still lingered. The urge to throw the binder across the room dulled when one of the photos caught her attention. This one had something. He faced the camera, shirtless, and while the body appealed, she couldn't look away from his eyes. She fixated on them as she removed the photo from the binder. Tameti made her decision. Two days later, the prospect arrived. Early. Perfect. He stood taller than she imagined. A plus. She stopped short of falling into his arms to stare into those deep orbs. Every lash understudy. So far, she was pleased. She gave the prospect a tour of the apartment. No corner left unexplored, even the kitchen pantry. Tameti discovered they let down their mask as she walked ahead of them. She vowed never a repeat of the replacement who harbored unpleasant fetishes.
So what do you do for a living?
The prospect asked the inevitable question. We have our hands in a little of everything. My partner and I are 2 of several immortal beings who've been here since the conception of the planet, and we cannot leave. So we have amassed tremendous wealth to build a vast city near the center of the earth so that we may hide when this current cycle ends. He laughed. They all laughed. Follow me, she commanded, continuing the tour.
I would imagine it can get pretty tough being immortal.
The sincerity in his tone lightened her attitude. She smiled. It's excruciating. Please, gesturing for the prospect to open a set of ornate double doors. The loft space beyond the doors could have housed a department store. The windows were large and leaded with a partial view of the city. Antiques, cleverly mixed with contemporary and oddly fashioned modern pieces, were set thoughtfully about the room. On a large ornamental table sat a colorful vase containing 2 dozens of a rose he had never seen before. Tameti saw his attention shift. She informed, They are Damplanta roses. They only grow in a few specific places on Earth. He approached the blooming bouquet, the orange flower with its blue tips illuminated by a shaft of sunlight.
They're beautiful. They look like autumn sun.
Gently leaning in, He took a long, slow whiff and gagged. Reeling away from the deceptive plant, he fought his body to contain the lunch he'd eaten. Awful, isn't it? The prospect waited to trust himself to speak.
What is that smell? I've never...
He stopped as a fresh wave of nausea passed. The effort earned her respect. It is the smell of their home. I hate them.
You can't get rid of them?
He asked. Why? My partner adores them.
You sound very much in love.
She smiled, saying nothing. Feel free to look around. He strode the room, ambling his way through the furniture. Little attempt was made to show interest in the man's prattling commentary. Timeti held her patience.
Is this handmade?
Yes, it was a gift. It is a reminder of the time my partner decided to become a famous actress.
Actress? You mean...
He stopped, laughing to himself. No doubt he was recalling Terence telling him that Timeti was eccentric. She loved that word. That and money made the questions go away.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Actress, huh?
Mm-hmm. And he was doing okay until he got mixed up with the wrong people. People way too powerful for our need of stringent anonymity. But we learn. Would you like a drink? Whiskey? He nodded. It was easier when they accepted the drink.
Earlier you said they're home. You're from a different place than your partner?
Completely different. Here you are. She studied every movement, the way his lips parted as he brought the glass up, the bob of his throat as he swallowed, the minute muscle movement at his jaw, his neck, and the little muscle behind the ear, the slow blink as he savored the tainted whiskey. It's a proprietary blend, she responded to his nod of approval. The prospect further relaxed. His scent became intoxicating. The dull, heavy throbbing in her was like an impatient knock on a closed door. She refrained and allowed him to peruse the room and empty his glass. Done? She pointed at the glass. He nodded, finishing the last swallow. Those beautiful eyes were beginning to glaze. One less stop on the tour. The bedroom is this way. The sun was setting when she emerged, tying her robe close.
So he'll do?
Hannah spoke from a dimly lit corner. She headed for her pipe. Using a bobby pin from her hair, she cleaned out the ashes and refilled it, packing as tight as she could. The flame of the match gently touched the surface. Yes, he'll do. She took a deep inhale. Exhale. Retain as much as possible.
The lovemaking?
Exceptional. He headed to the bedroom, his loafers noisy in the silent loft. Don't wake him. It does something to the eyes when they're conscious. I don't like it. Hannah lifted himself a few inches from the floor. The novelty had not worn off on that bit of magic.
Are you done complaining, crone?
She exhaled. I'm done. Just heed what I say, Marilyn. He huffed, laughing lightly.
Point taken.
If you enjoy this content, don't be shy. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe.